Hi guys, today we're talking to somebody who moved to the UK as a student and is currently studying in the UK. Because it's a really important time for students, especially students who are planning on moving to the UK in 2023, I thought we might as well do this now so you get a really clear picture of what your life will be like once you move to the UK as a student and what you can expect. With that, I'm Ashika and let's dive in. Hi, so do you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, hi. So my name is Anivan Kavra and I am from India. And back in India, I was working with Microsoft as an HR operations executive before moving here.
What course are you studying right now in the UK?
I'm doing my master's in digital innovation and analytics from Royal Holloway University of London.
And what made you decide on the UK for starters? I mean, a lot of other students consider Canada, they consider Australia or the US. So, how did you narrow it down to the UK?
Maybe because UK universities are known for their high standards of education and academic excellence. And many of the universities are like ranked among the top of the universities in the world. And the other thing was that it is a culturally diverse country, and the universities reflect the same diversity here.
Okay.
So I was thinking like my thought was degree from the UK will be highly respected and recognized around the world. So this thing can be a significant advantage when looking for employment opportunities.
What made you decide on this specific course? And you said marketing innovation, right?
It's digital innovation
Digital
and a
innovation.
little bit of analytics. Yeah.
Okay. So, why specifically this course?
So I was looking for integrated courses, and I think the demand for analytics is growing rapidly. There is a high demand for professionals with expertise in this area.
Okay.
I think it is valued by employers in today's job market. And also I had some interest in exploring like how data and analytics can impact a business or even the whole society.
Okay.
So it's some of my interest in some of what's going on in the market.
Okay. So when you say there was a demand in the market, was there a particular pattern that you followed to check what your demand is, or was it hearsay? Was it something your seniors had told you? How did you figure out that there was a demand in the market?
Some part of it was from word of mouth, and some was like what I was noticing, and some was the guidance which I was like getting from people around me. What should I pursue?
Okay.
So it was a mix of many things.
All right. So did you apply to multiple universities, or was there just one university you wanted to focus on? How did you go about that process?
Yeah, I did apply to quite a few universities based upon their reputation and ranking, and if they're offering the course which I am looking for. And also, I reached out to the alumni of the universities on LinkedIn to get insight into the university, like what is the university culture and what teaching quality and they provide and what are the outcomes.
Okay. And in terms of outcomes, you're talking specifically about help with the job hunt at the
Yeah.
end of the course, right?
Yeah.
And when you talk about rankings, did you look at QS or did you look at any other rankings? Which rankings were you looking at?
I was looking at QS ranking, but when I was applying for loan, they were looking at some other rankings for the interest benefits. But yeah, I was looking at the QS rankings.
Okay, got it. All right. So, as a student in the UK, on a daily basis now, what is your schedule like?
It's quite busy these days. Like I have back-to-back assignments to submit, but usually it is pretty much balanced between doing the household work and the university work.
Okay.
Sometimes it's a bit easy, sometimes it's relaxed, but sometimes it is very hectic.
So, what time do your courses approximately start in the morning?
No, so I have lectures 2 days on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and then there's a workshop which sometimes it is online and sometimes we have to come to the campus. And usually the lecture starts at 9 and we have lectures till 6 p.m.
Okay.
We do have breaks in between, but
Okay.
it is from 9 to 6.
And especially because you've come from India, and this is a challenge all of us face. In India, it's very easy to get food. So, what do you do for breakfast when you're going here? Because if your courses start at 9, you won't have too much time to sit and make breakfast, or do you?
No, I usually cook at night and then like I prepare meals for a day in advance.
Okay. Wow. Okay. You're doing a much better job than I am in that case. When it came to finding a house, Did you find it challenging? Did you take up student accommodation? How did you work that out? Because I know a lot of students say that they find it very difficult to find good student accommodation once they move here, and it's honestly quite a challenge. Some people go for months without finding anything. So, what was the process you followed?
So yeah, I applied for student accommodation, but I was not that fortunate enough to get one because I was running a little late.
Okay.
But luckily, my family lives there. Like my sister lives there, so I ended up living with my family here. So I'm still in the process of finding one. I haven't gotten time to find.
But if somebody didn't have the option of their family being around, what would you suggest they do? How do you think they should start looking for accommodation?
Firstly, you can directly apply to the student accommodations which universities provide. And then there are many platforms like spare rooms, and there are multiple platforms where you can look for accommodations.
So, do you have a part-time job, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, I had one. Like I used to work at Zara, but as this term got busier and busier, so I left that job.
So, for students who initially move to the UK and don't even know where to start when it comes to looking for part-time jobs, what do you suggest? How should they go about this?
You can directly apply on the career web page of the company you want to work with.
Okay.
I directly applied on the company's website,
Okay.
but some of my friends used online job platforms which helped them finding a job. Like they were in the same job I was in. So you can either apply directly or you can use the platforms. There are many platforms like Indeed, Total Jobs.
Is it challenging to find a job, or do you feel a part-time job, or do you feel there are a lot of options available? Because from what I see, every time when we go into London, every single retail outlet has students working over there, and a lot of them are Indian students. I think the last time I went to Starbucks at King's Cross, everybody was Indian and they were all talking Hindi at Starbucks. So I didn't really feel like I had moved to the UK. I felt like I was just still back in India, that very welcoming atmosphere for at least us. And I've really noticed a lot of students working everywhere. So is it really difficult to find a part-time job?
It's not that difficult, but it is time consuming. Like you have to sit and apply for many jobs, then you'll get. But once you start receiving responses, it is pretty much smooth.
What you would suggest then, taking up a part-time job at points where your classes are lighter, and at some point when you start packing up together, you may want to let go and just focus on studying because you can't fail your courses after coming all this way.
Yeah. Yeah, so sometimes it gets difficult to manage both of the things, but the first priority is doing your studies.
Do you have any feedback for students who are going to start applying? Because right now is the period when everybody applies, right? And March is a really critical time for everyone. So I think a lot of people will be making decisions now, either between the UK and other countries, and even in the UK between universities. So what mistakes did you make when you were deciding or when you were moving that you absolutely think others should avoid if they can?
I was lucky because there were so many people to guide me, and I did a quite extensive research while applying to the universities. What I suggest is it can be a challenging and time-consuming process, but it is important to research, plan, and seek advice. So, do not apply to too many universities. What I feel is that it is better to focus on a few universities that align with your required goals. So you should do an extensive research about the course and university before applying. So just don't blindly apply to all the universities. And make sure you don't miss the deadlines. So keep track of all the deadlines and submit applications well in advance.
Once someone moves to the UK, what is the one piece of advice you want to give them? Because see, a lot of people come here and for whatever reason it is, they feel it's not working out, or they find it very challenging when they moved because it's a huge cultural difference. They're away from their homes for the first time. They're finding housing difficult. They have to sit and cook food for themselves. Everything is expensive, right? So you've been through the entire process. What was the biggest challenge once you got here? And what advice do you have for someone once they get here?
So I think one of the biggest challenges was finding an accommodation. I got of that because luckily I have my family here. So, but do try to take accommodation before reaching here. Apply to the university accommodation on time. Don't miss the deadline. and try to manage on live on that accommodation for however long you can.
So that when something opens up on a spare room or a room goes, so you can make the switch. But until then, you
Yeah,
have university
yeah,
accommodation.
yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for being with us. We're very grateful that you were able to help us and help all the students watching this get an idea of what their life is going to be like once they move to the UK. And guys, if you do have any questions, you can just drop them in the comment section below. And I'm sure Haniwant, who has not agreed to this, but I will convince him, will help us answer some of those questions, or I will. But thank you so much for watching.